What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a few things. We're going to start off with PRB02 and OP13, talk about those a little bit, and pre-orders coming up. So if you're in Canada, pay attention. I will have some recommendations where you can find product. And then also after that, we're going to talk a little bit about some sealed boxes that are moving, some sealed products as well that aren't booster boxes that are on their way up. So starting off, PRB02, I got my case in today. I'm actually going to put up a YouTube short probably later tonight. I got a case from HPW. It was 200 Canadian per box, so it came out to like 210 after tax. I love buying from HPW. They tend to always double box when you get case quantity. So sometimes, like when you buy from stores, they'll just ship you the distribution case or whatever, and then if it's moving around in a UPS truck or Canada Post getting flung around, it can get dented, it can get damaged and bent up. So I like when stores go the extra mile. They spend a couple bucks extra just to make sure it's double boxed. I really appreciate that. So I got a case there. And then shout out to the Discord, because earlier this morning, someone left a link to HPW again. They put up their OP13 pre-orders, and I managed to get a case of OP13 for 210 as well, I believe. Or was it no, it might have been 210 plus shipping. It was 210 or 220. I can't remember. I will have to go double check that. I'm pretty sure it was 200, but I could be wrong. Either way, it came out to, what would that be, like 150 USD, 160 in that range. I know some people in the States and other parts of the world have gotten better case pre-orders of OP13. That's awesome. 200 Canadian is basically the cheapest here that we almost ever see in Canada. So on a decent set like OP13, I was happy to pay that. If you go to their site right now, though, and you click on pre-order, I did test this before about 30 minutes ago, and I was able to add 5. But right before I started recording, I refreshed my card on this because I was curious, and I couldn't actually put any in. So it looks like it's sold out now, unfortunately, for OP13. If you do want PRBO2, they still have 19 boxes in stock at 210 Canadian. There's a couple other stores in Canada that are like at 200 Canadian for PRBO2. The problem is I didn't see any stores at 200 where you could buy in case quantity. So they have 19 in stock, 10 is a case. You could definitely still get a sealed case if you want. When it comes to OP13, Hobbiesville also put up pre-orders today. They're unfortunately at 230 Canadian, which is a lot more expensive than HPW. The good thing about Hobbiesville, though, is that they still have 860 boxes you could theoretically purchase. So you could easily get case quantity. I know someone else put a link to, I think they're called Tistamus or something like that in Canada. They were at 200 Canadian. I'm not sure if they still have case quantity available. Again, like HPW, they put theirs up earlier today. They're already sold out. So I imagine a lot of the smaller stores, you're not going to be able to get case quantity now. So if you want to buy case quantity, you could go through Hobbiesville at this point. I do have affiliate link down below, but I would recommend that you shop around first and just try and find a better rate. You could also take the risk and wait until release day and then hope that some of these other stores like HPW restock again. That is always an option you could go. But either way, you guys have to get some OP13. I'm not saying it's going to be the best investment because, again, like everyone's hyping this up. I do think it's probably going to be the best set, or at least a top 2 set that Bandai has released. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best investment in the short term. When we look at OP09, that was an amazing set, but it actually hasn't been the best performer over the past year because it has gotten reprints and it's a very new set. So it's going to take time on something like OP13, but you can definitely build your position now and then dollar cost average over its lifespan if reprints come. Now, hopefully that's enough conversation about OP13 pre-orders. I did bring up the card list here because I did want to talk about some of the SPs in the set as well. We focused a lot on the top red mangas, the regular mangas, the Shanks, the Five Elders, even the Wanted posters. That's awesome, but when you go a little bit deeper, there is going to be some decent depth to this. Nothing crazy, but it's still going to be solid. I mean, when you look at these SPs, you have this ace here. I'm not the largest fan of when they have the character in the background like that. I know some people do like these SP styles, which I think we saw in OP12 as well. You have Ben Beckman, you have Lilith in here. Sabo is probably my favorite one out of the 4, in my opinion. I mean, it's pretty close between that and the ace, but you have some decent alternate art parallel cards in here. The Emu is really awesome. I mean, this is probably going to be a playable card, I imagine. Roger's always going to have a decent amount of value. Also, this Uta down here, I mean, with EBO3 coming out, this might be a card that goes for like 15, 20 bucks, even if it doesn't have any level of playability to it. So there is going to be some solid depth in OP13, not just the top chases, which again are probably the most important. Now, before we go any further and talk about a few sealed products that are making their way up, I did want to jump in here and say 67.4% of you guys now watching the videos aren't subscribed. If you're getting some value out of this, you're enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. It helps out a ton. Thank you in advance if you do decide to do that. Now, if you guys watched yesterday's video, I did mention I sold the Zorro, and I made a post on Facebook in the Canadian nationwide OP group. I sold the Zorro. I listed a couple other cards. I did also list a couple of the booster boxes I had. I had a PRB, or excuse me, not PRB, OP03 and an OP04. I listed those. There's actually been a lot of interest in them. Haven't sold them yet, but I imagine they are going to sell. But I had a lot of people, very surprisingly, a lot of people reached out asking about Romance Dawn. And I was like, interesting. Like, why are so many people wanting white bottom Romance Dawn booster boxes now when I think like a couple months ago, honestly, if you threw one up, blue bottoms would always sell, but white bottoms, they would stick around for a while. But right now they're hot. I looked at TCG Player, it's still around $550, but when you come in here and look at recent sales from the past couple days, October 22nd, $650 USD, and then today, October 23rd, another sale at $650. I think it's only a matter of time before we see Romance Dawn blue bottoms, or excuse me, white bottoms, get to $700 USD. It could happen by the end of the year, especially with how things are going. We have seen the blue bottoms pull back a little bit. I think recent sales are in like the $2,700, $2,800 range. One today at $2,800. So those, we're not seeing the 3.5K sales all the time now, which is fine. I mean, the run up on the blue bottoms was just massive. If you do the 1 year chart here, you can see up 168%, crazy growth in one piece. So keep an eye on Romance Dawn. And even the sleeve boosters, if you have some of these, might be time to consider moving these, getting into some booster boxes, just getting rid of ancillary products and consolidating into larger ticket. More liquid items is always a good idea. And I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to say the old sleeve boosters Bandai put out are way better than the new ones. I mean, these like flat, bulky '09 ones, I think they did these like onwards from '09. It could have even been earlier, like '07, '08. I'm not exactly sure, but I hate the look of these. I love the slim kind of, waist-like look of the older ones, kind of what Pokemon does. I think they're just way more aesthetic and a better item that way. I imagine it's probably cheaper, easier for Bandai to create these ones, and that's why they do it, but I digress. Now, a couple other sealed products I do want to bring to your attention today. EBO1, not the craziest item that everyone should be pouring their money into, but this is a box that has just continued to move up, sitting around $386 on TCG Player, but most recent sales over the past week or so, October 15th, $425, October 17th, $425, and October 21st, $438.88. This box is almost $450 based on recent sales. And remember guys, a lot of the cards in EBO1 that were playable were reprinted in PRBO2 like the Bond Clay, and there are tons of people in my comment section, in other subreddits like r/OnePieceTCG that thought once PRBO2 came out, EBO1, the booster box, would just crash in price. Right? They're like, the playable cards, they're going to lose their value, which means the box price is going to lose its value. That's not how things work in the TCG market when we look at sealed product, right? People weren't buying this box for, I don't know, like $300, $320 back in the middle of the summer because they were trying to open it and get playable cards out of it. That's not what people were doing. The reason this box was so expensive is because it had a small print run. A lot of boxes were open to get playable cards or whatever. And with time, as there's less and less boxes out there, the price ran up on it. That's why this box is so valuable. And that's why after the reprints in PRBO2, the box didn't come down in price because there is more value to this than just a couple playable cards in it. And it really does bug me that this type of misinformation is just continuing to go around the hobby. I mean, I've been making videos using this example for probably like 6 months at this point, maybe even 7 months since I got the first comment about that EBO1 booster box crashing. And I still see this in like multiple places in the One Piece community. So if you learn anything from EBO1, it's that even if the cards are reprinted, it doesn't mean the box price is going to crash. If the booster box gets reprinted, right? Like if Bandai goes back, they do another print run of sealed product, that's where you'd see the booster box come down in price. But if the booster box isn't reprinted, it's going to continue flying, guys. That's just how things work in sealed investing. Now, after that, the first anniversary English set, this was about $500 a week ago, I think, the last time we talked about this. And I touched on the PSA 10 values of all the cards inside being way higher than the sealed box. And I said that either the PSA 10 values are going to come down in price or we're going to see the sealed box go up in price. And that's exactly what's happened. We're now up to $603 on TCG Player. These are up 51.9% over the past month, just continuing to fly. And if you come in here and look at recent sales, a couple today, $620, $750. And before that, you had a sale $625, $600, $693. So the majority of the sales now are averaging out well into the $600 range, some as high as $750. And I think it's just going to continue going as time goes on. These have really surprised me. I did not expect these to do as well as they have. And if you do own one of these, I would probably recommend holding it at this point. As crazy as that sounds with the run up it's had, but I just think as time goes on, there's going to be less and less sealed ones out there, especially with the Luffy. I think the gem rate was 70% on it too. So there definitely is going to be a grading play there on the Luffy and some of the other cards in the future. So I would recommend keeping it sealed, holding it. If you have multiple though, and you want to take some profits to offset the little risk you have of holding the product, I think that's perfectly fine as well. And then the final thing I wanted to touch on, the super pre-release starter decks. These are continuing to move. I think the last time we looked at this, it was like $400 maybe. We're now up to $450 approximately on TCG Player. But the very interesting thing, if you come in here and look at recent sales, you can see going all the way back to the start of October, $700, $718, $750, $800, $800, and $800. And these three were all on October 15th. So this box is continuing to move up in price. If you do the 1 year chart on this, you could have been buying this for sub $200 back in August, and it's now selling for $800 recent sales on TCG Player. Again, just another product I did not expect to do this well, but with the Luffy promo inside just going crazy in price, this was bound to happen. So very interesting, very humbling as well. I figured I would throw these in. This is kind of a hodgepodge video, so hopefully you guys got something out of it. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about OP13. I'm hoping a lot of you guys got your pre-orders in earlier than I did and you were able to get a better price than 200 Canadian. And if you are going to be shopping eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I do have affiliate links down below. They're free and easy to use. All you have to do is click on it before you buy whatever you're planning to buy. I'll get a small percentage of that sale at no extra cost to you. So it's a free and easy way to support the channel and me continuing to make these videos for you guys. But with all that said, I appreciate you watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.